Well, looks like 2024 is not only the year of monkey blockbusters, but cat blockbusters. Which kissy melted your heart more, Frodo or Archie from Argyle? Shush! A Quiet Place, Day One. Directed not by John Krasinski this time, he's just in the producer role, but by Michael Sharonofsky, and is the prequel to the first two Quiet Place movies, as well as the third installment in the Quiet Place franchise overall. So Day One tells the origin story of the literal day one of how the alien invasion in this franchise all began. Only we don't focus on the family this time from the John Krasinski movies. This is the only Quiet Place movie to not have that family. Instead, we follow brand new characters in the Big Apple itself, New York, played by Lupita Nyong'o, our protagonist, and she's tragically terminally ill and lives with her cat Frodo. And one day, this guy offers to take her to a marionette show, and then that's when the alien invasion happens, and you know the rest. It's literally a survival movie of them attempting to be as silent as possible to avoid detection from the beasts. And yeah, did we really need this movie? So I was uh, uh, open-minded about a Quiet Place movie being directed by a different director other than John Krasinski. As John Krasinski, he's not a flawless filmmaker, so I was curious to see what Michael Sharonofsky would do with a Quiet Place prequel, and and until this movie, there wasn't a bad Quiet Place movie, but with more underwhelming reactions, particularly from Rachel's reviews and from Ashley, who I follow on Instagram. Yeah, my expectations were just getting lower and lower to the point where I was going into day one not getting my hopes up and prepared for it to be inferior to the first two John Krasinski movies. And William Behold, I am in the minority and siding with the people who are calling this one of the biggest disappointments of 2024. This is the first Quiet Place movie I did not particularly like. This is not going to be an extreme explosive rant or anything like that. It didn't make me really angry, but it's just took uh, my time and that I felt like I wasted. It feels like a waste of our time. Like, I'm sorry, but the prologue in A Quiet Place Part Two was did a far better job establishing the day one than the day one we got in this film. And without the family, it did not feel the same. And but you know what's the biggest negative with this movie? The dumb location setting. Why the actual fuck would you have a Quiet Place movie take place in Manhattan, of all places? One of the noisiest freaking sissies on the planet. The day New York is quiet and silent, that would not be physically possible. A city of 8 million people that's constantly buzzing. And I'm sorry, but the rats and the pigeons all around New York alone would be like a heaven for the invading aliens. And and having it take place in New York feels way too formulaic and done to death. How many times do we need an alien invasion movie happening in Manhattan? This movie felt way too blockbustery and too big in scale to be a Quiet Place film. I think the countryside locations of the first two John Krasinski films were perfect because of that. So you did not get half of the scares or suspense in this movie, and as you did in the first two films. Like the film was too noisy and too explosive and too to be a Quiet Place movie. It did not feel like a Quiet Place film. To the point where you go at the screen, shut the fuck up. Do you want to have your insides torn out by those monsters? No. And though the two saving graces of this movie would have to be Lupita Nyong'o as Samrina. Yeah, she performance-wise, this is not a bad movie because she gives a strong performance. Lupita Nyong'o, she is a truly magnificent actress, and she is underrated in that the Academy should nominate her far more. So she did what she could to make us care about this brand new character, as it was hard to connect with this movie without the family. And her cat, Frodo, he was the most adorable movie kissy since Archie from Argyle. You know me, I am a cat lover through and through, and yeah, thankfully Frodo survives. Yeah, had Frodo been killed off, I would have grabbed my pitchfork and torch and marched to the doors of Paramount Pictures, commanding they give us Quiet Place fans an apology for killing off Frodo, but thankfully they didn't. And but the other guy who was with her for most of the movie, yeah, while his character was a genuine guy who wanted to be there for her by taking her to that marionette show, his fate was predictable as fuck. You know he was going to be killed off the very moment shit goes down, and when and when he killed that person to attempt to be quiet, I mean, yeah, that was kind of a dick move on his part. Like he could have easily have covered that's guy's mouth. No need to go as far as killing him, as he was just that guy was just as innocent in all this as they were. And the movie doesn't have a proper ending. It just ends uh with her just walking around with a creature in the background, and that's it. It cuts to the credits. So it feels like it's a survival movie that builds to nothing. Because they're characters we're never going to see or hear from again in the John Krasinski movies. So, uh, yeah, already that kills any tension. And we know nothing's going to be resolved. We know the aliens are not going to be anywhere near defeated, not until Quiet Place Part 3, which will come in the new year. And I pray that's movie gets this franchise back on track. So overall, A Quiet Place, Day One, I feel is uh, easily the worst Quiet Place movie, and feels like just a cash grabber prequel that didn't need to exist and didn't exactly add to the lore of the Quiet Place series. It could have even expanded on the origin of the aliens and where they came from, but it doesn't whatsoever. It is more of the same. It is nothing new. And how this prequel got a pass and the Fantastic Beasts movies didn't, I have no clue.
I give A Quiet Place Day one star out of five. Fuck this movie.
So yeah, please don't think badly of me after this rant, as I'm not the only YouTuber critic that was underwhelmed by this prequel. Uh, and also, huge congrats to Inside Out 2 for being the first movie to cross over $1 billion since Barbie. It truly deserves it, and Pixar deserves this. They haven't had this in 5 years since Toy Story 4. Well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this mini rant. And what are your thoughts on Quiet Place Day One? I'm sure that's 50% of you are going to come to this movie's defense and highly disagree with me. But I've seen some in the minority like this more than like Quiet Place Part 2. Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'll see you next time. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.